Line is, and the first principle of biocentrism is that reality involves your consciousness. It could not be there without your consciousness.
A book titled Biocentrism: How Life and Consciousness Are the Keys to Understanding the Nature of the Universe has stirred up the internet because it contained a notion that life does not end when the body dies, and it can last forever. The author of this publication, scientist Dr. Robert Lanza, who was voted the third most important scientist alive by the NY Times, has no doubts that this is possible, beyond time and space. Lanza is an expert in regenerative medicine and scientific director of Advanced Cell Technology Company. Before he was known for his extensive research, which dealt with stem cells, he was also famous for several successful experiments on cloning endangered animal species. But not so long ago, the scientists became involved with physics, quantum mechanics, and astrophysics. This explosive mixture has given birth to the new theory of biocentrism, which the professor has been preaching ever since. Biocentrism teaches that life and consciousness are fundamental to the universe. It is consciousness that creates the material universe, not the other way around. Lanza points to the structure of the universe itself, and that the laws, forces, and constants of the universe appear to be fine-tuned for life, implying intelligence existed prior to matter.
Without consciousness, there is no breath to life. As much as we are alive, so too is the universe. How foolish and egotistical modern man is to make such claims that the universe is nothing more than equations, laws, and forces. As if the Drake equation is nothing more than a fantastic theory of uncertainty. I hear that is what most say about love. Yet, if love is as uncertain as extraterrestrial life, then why have we all fallen in love? For love is as infinite as consciousness to life. Those who claim God does not exist deny their own existence. For there is no God. There is only the source, the consciousness of life, the universe, for which we all breathe. Beyond space and time, you will find what has always been. The laws and forces the universe has equated are to see its prime directive fulfilled, to bring light to the soil of the void. For the consciousness of the universe is the gardener and the winnower.
It was once before a time, because time had not yet begun. We did not live. We existed as principles of ontological dynamics that emerged from mathematical structures as bodiless and inevitable as the primes. It was the field of possibility that prefigured existence. He also claims that space and time are not objects or things, but rather tools of our animal understanding. Lanza says that we carry space and time around with us, like turtles with shells, meaning that when the shell comes off, space and time, we still exist. The theory implies that death of consciousness simply does not exist. It only exists as a thought because people identify themselves with their body. They believe that the body is going to perish, sooner or later, thinking their consciousness will disappear too. If the body generates consciousness, then consciousness dies when the body dies. But if the body receives consciousness in the same way that a cable box receives satellite signals, then of course consciousness does not end at the death of the physical vehicle. In fact, consciousness exists outside of constraints of time and space. It is able to be anywhere, in the human body and outside of it. In other words, it is non-local in the same sense that quantum objects are non-local. Lanza also believes that multiple universes can exist simultaneously. In one universe, the body can be dead, and in another it continues to exist, absorbing consciousness, which migrated into this universe. This means that a dead person while traveling through the same tunnel ends up not in hell or in heaven, but in a similar world he or she once inhabited, but this time alive, and so on, infinitely. It's almost like a cosmic Russian doll afterlife effect. Multiple worlds, this hope-instilling but extremely controversial theory by Lanza has many unwitting supporters, not just mere mortals who want to live forever, but also some well-known scientists. These are the physicists and astrophysicists who tend to agree with existence of parallel worlds and who suggest the possibility of multiple universes. Multiverse, multi-universe, is a so-called scientific concept which they defend. They believe that no physical laws exist which would prohibit the existence of parallel worlds. The first one was a science fiction writer H.G. Wells, who proclaimed in 1895 in his story The Door in the Wall. And after 62 years, this idea was developed by Dr. Hugh Everett in his graduate thesis at Princeton University. It basically posits that at any given moment the universe divides into countless similar instances. And the next moment, these newborn universes split in a similar fashion. In some of these worlds you may be present, reading this article in one universe, or watching TV in another. Our souls are in fact constructed from the very fabric of the universe, and may have existed since the beginning of time. Our brains are just receivers and amplifiers for the proto-consciousness that is intrinsic to the fabric of space-time. So is there really a part of your consciousness that is non-material and will live on after the death of your physical body? D.R. Hameroff told the Science Channels through the Wormhole documentary. Let's say the heart stops beating, the blood stops flowing, the microtubules lose their quantum state. The quantum information within the microtubules is not destroyed. It can't be destroyed. It just distributes and dissipates to the universe at large. Robert Lanza would add here that not only does it exist in the universe, it exists perhaps in another universe. If the patient is resuscitated, revived, this quantum information can go back into the microtubules and the patient says, "I had a near-death experience." He adds, if they're not revived and the patient dies, it's possible that this quantum information can exist outside the body, perhaps indefinitely, as a soul. This account of quantum consciousness explains things like near-death experiences, astral projection, out-of-body experiences, and even reincarnation without needing to appeal to religious ideology. The energy of your consciousness potentially gets recycled back into a different body at some point, and in the meantime it exists outside of the physical body on some other level of reality, and possibly in another universe.
Physical death is only the next stage in our life's journey. As one version of our life ends, so does another begin. Physical death is as infinite as the creation of life, for one cannot exist without the other. Yet, our consciousness is everlasting, for our consciousness operates like an atom while in the physical realm. As the observer becomes observed, as consciousness being born into the real world. Quantum consciousness vibrating the frequency of one universe to another. As I speak the words during my prayers to those loved ones that have passed, may the universe guide you upon your next spiritual journey. From one universe to another, the quantum consciousness travels to live life a lesson learned. Death is like a neuralizer. We forget the life lived in order to live a lesson forgotten. It is funny how we forget what the ancients have already known and taught us. Yet the domestication of our consciousness has prevented us from being able to contemplate what has already been thought, to live what has already been experienced. For the awakened, they call it the Akashic Records. For the layman, the Congressional Library of Consciousness. A plane of existence where the mastery of life's mysteries, arts, sciences, and philosophies exist, given access to be studied, memorized, and imbued within the physical realm of our quantum consciousness. This allows oneself to download from the universe, to update one's programming, to become enlightened with new software. The congressional library of consciousness exists as in many universes as our quantum consciousness. For the library is the consciousness of the universe itself. For as we live, so too does the universe learn and improve what has been taught. There are no wrong answers to the universe, only the wrong perspectives. Dr. Lanza has vindicated the words of the ancients. Now the choice is up to humanity to accept immortality or forsake for the ego's sake. I bet during the ancient times, they would say ignorance is death. Nowadays, they say ignorance is bliss.
We are travelers on a cosmic journey, stardust swirling and dancing in the eddies and whirlpools of infinity. Life is eternal. We have stopped for a moment to encounter each other, to meet, to love, to share. This is a precious moment. It is a little parenthesis in eternity.
Hello there, I'm Kios Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything, the Monday Mindset, Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show.